Sarah Falcon is back in the studio. Sarah, welcome. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for squeezing me in.
Squeezing you in, your priority. We've been launching a number of resources inside of the B2BA community and website and memberships. And I think it's important to let everybody know what's there and what's available for everyone. Because I think some of the stuff I've read recently is just really good material, is helpful for everyone. I wanted to dig into that, and almost all of it's focused at the manufacturer and distributor level, and I just think that's it's pretty special. So I wanted to get in on that. But we've worked on how to describe what we've done at the B2BA, and there's a way I've been describing it. I think it's helpful for everyone just to kind of orient themselves around. I kind of really talk about kind of three main areas that we've been focused on. Number one is education. There's no place to get training and onboarding and certification, and so we've focused really, really heavily on the education piece. That's how we started. We started by building these courses, and even our conferences really incorporated education into them. But we've started with education, and I think education will continue to be kind of the focal point that everything revolves around. We have education, and then we have events. Last year we launched B2B eCommerce World, and really this becomes, I think if education is the pivotal thing, everything kind of floats around. The event is the fun thing that we all just want to be involved in. It just was a fantastic event last year, and we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing with B2B e-commerce world this year as well. And then the last part is media. And media just means like, where do you go to get the most relevant news around our industry? Hear the new things that are coming out, experience some of the startups, hear what the vendors are doing, get information directly from practitioners in manufacturing and distribution, and media is the place that we're doing. And Sarah and I have, our focus together is a lot on the media side and what we're doing there. So I thought we'd just chat through a couple of those and kind of see where this goes here today. The first one is education. I think the flagship of education has been our level 1 certification, this foundational course. I've been so surprised by even the most seasoned of people going through the course and then writing me and saying, I know this stuff, but I hate to admit it that I actually learned something in the course. And that's been pretty fun. And that course though becomes foundational, and it's not even foundational just for like manufacturers and distributors. It's foundational in agencies and software vendors and system integrators, and we have now full companies going through this certification. Full companies, people are using it as their primary onboarding tool. They're using the course to level set. I mean, I'm watching now agencies and their customers go through the course together so they can, that they're talking the same language about this stuff. That's half the problem is we talk different language about, we talk a different language about customer adoption over here, and then the agency talks about it in this way. Like, can we just talk about it in common terms? The nuance of your industry and your business, of course, you talk about it in your own terms, but the general things that apply to us all, can we just use the same words to talk about this stuff and measure it and everything? And I think this course really it's probably the most unassuming thing that's part of what we do that becomes the most important thing that we do. And we don't market it and push the course that maybe we need to more.
Yeah, now that we're talking about it.
Maybe we need to.
Yeah. The use cases that I think are interesting are we work with a global manufacturer who has a big network of distributors, some of which are sophisticated in digital, but many of which are not. And so they're using the course as a way of getting a common language in their network of distributors.
The ecosystem, yeah.
Yeah, and it just gives a common framework and common terminology to use. And also just like level set, like have you done the course or have you not done the course? And you can sort of understand where people are. And then also for teams as roles transition into B2B e-commerce, maybe your background is in IT and you're suddenly on an e-commerce project. It helps with that sort of upskilling and pathway. And on the vendor side, similarly for onboarding and also for third-party businesses that want to work with vendors but may not have experience in marketing around B2B e-commerce because it is still pretty niche. So like SEO teams, digital ad teams that may not live within your business, but you want them to know who they're talking to and what kind of words they should be using and not using. It's a pretty robust set of use cases for an 8-hour on-demand training.
Yeah, and I mean, I still firmly believe that every person in the industry should be taking it. And we've made it accessible, right? We've made it financially accessible to take it. And we've made it accessible. We've given it through vendors, and we just want everyone in the industry to take it because it does level set. And there's some frameworks in there about how to think through this. And I think it's important. We have done a bunch of other things though in courses. Talking about 2026, there's a lot of new things that we're rolling out. We rolled out the executive course last year, which was I think it was 6 videos about 5 minutes long that you can give to your CEO or your CFO or your executive team that explains not what e-commerce is, but how digital should be positioned in their company, how to make it a strategic competitive advantage inside of the company. We have courses being built right now that are around B2B sales. So we've got a big kind of push in 2026 of a little bit beyond. We know that some of the biggest struggle with digital is the actual people within the company, and often that's sales. Like, what is the role of sales in this new digital world, in this new AI world? What is the role of sales, and how do you actually take advantage as a salesperson these new digital tools to blow up your own sales, right, and to make more sales, and that specifically to manufacturers and distributors. A lot on the distribution side. We're even rolling some stuff out to the branches. What we hear all the time is our branch people. One branch does it really well, the next branch doesn't do it really well. What material? Like, how do you train them on how to use this? And it's not like how to use your website, but how to think about expanding their branch operations, because these branches often run as their own kind of separate entity in P&L. And how do you expand that using the digital tools? And it's moving so fast on the AI side. Like, how do you embrace some of that? Well, I'm really excited about that. I had a conversation with the distributor this past week. They're like, our biggest struggle is kind of at the scaling. We need to talk to all of our people, speak to all the branches, train all the branches. And so I talked about this training and like, hey, this is going to be just a great kind of foundational, done very, very similar to the other things that we've done. A very foundational way of helping all of your branch staff just understand how digital can help them run their branch better, in general. So really excited about that. So lots of amazing courses that are in the academy. I think, though, what I really wanted to talk to you, Sarah, about is that we have a bunch of resources that have been dropped in as well. Some free, some are part of our pro membership. Our pro membership, we changed as of January 1st to basically be a very low cost pro membership that you get access to all kind of the basics. You get the discount to the shows, you get all the resources. There's not multiple levels of that. And then we made the courses separate so that the cost of membership was lower, and you can just choose the courses that you want to participate in. So it's a $95 pro membership cost now, and the value is significantly greater than that. And as part of that, you've been building some resources, and specifically there's a new one that has been released over the last week around digital transformation. I had a chance to read it this past weekend. It was really, really good. Like, what is this piece, and why did you choose to write this piece around digital transformation?
Yeah. Well, one thing for 2026 I am really excited about is building out content. We have quarterly themes now so that we can sort of organize the content that we're developing and curating. And the association is just in a unique position to be a global hub of information and education around B2B e-commerce. There are sort of industry specific sites. There are some news sites that will cover, or newsy sites that will cover, like what's going on with publicly traded companies. But there's a real gap in a place that you can go to understand what's going on in B2B e-commerce, especially globally. So that's the part that's exciting. And this thought about, so this quarter's topic is digital transformation. The next one is about product content, which is also a good meaty one. But digital transformation has just become this word that I think made a lot of sense when it was introduced, like in the 2010s or whatever, which is that you needed a word that described that the change that was going to happen isn't just e-commerce, it's going to be a digital wide transformation. But I think the thing that got lost is that digital was just a tactic to describe the transformation, that the real point was the change that needed to happen. And a lot of the digital transformation that was expected in the 2010s has not happened. It's just been tactical choices or technology builds, but there hasn't been a transformative current for many, many businesses. So the thought was, digital transformation as a term makes a lot of sense, but how do we sort of redefine what it is for the business and talk about how the focus is on the transforming part, and digital is a tool and e-commerce is a tool that helps you get there. And when that happens, then it's not a digital project that sits in IT that's about buying a platform and standing up a web store. It's about an organizational change. And like you said, with the branches, right? It's a hefty change management, like political capital, leadership engagement project. And so this white paper sort of talks about how to think about how CIOs and digital leaders can claim that role, what to think about it, how to think about digital transformation in that way, and enact the kind of change they need to see in their business, which may look different than building a beautiful website. It might just be solving customer experience problems with digital tools. And I think a lot about, we had a webinar last year with Jared from Simpson Strong Ties, who had a lot of resistance from the leadership about doing e-commerce or any sort of digital initiatives. But they had a huge problem in staff and customer service. It took 6 months to get people upskilled.
Wow.
People would leave, there'd be huge gaps. And what customer service was mostly doing is saying, are my products available? Are they in stock? When can I receive them, and what's my price? So he built an online site where you could log in and get those questions answered. And once he did that, the customer started saying, okay, now that I can see all the products and that they're available and when I'll get them, like, why can't I buy them? Right now that I've done it, why can't I have an add to cart button? And that's how he pushed through digital transformation, which was solving the problem, which was not a digital problem at all, but solving it with something, with a digital solution. And I think examples like that, the customer service roadblock to me is like the non-digital problem that has a digital answer. So like a chat bot that can look up inventory and availability and do product recommendations, right? There are lots of ways of using newer and newer technology to solve what is not like a capital e-commerce problem.
Yeah. David Blue from Saltbox, I had him on the podcast this week and this last couple of weeks, and he talks about little C commerce versus big C commerce. Big C commerce being not about really e-commerce, but all the things that surround just self-service, right? And Paul DeForno had him on yesterday. We recorded about some of his new research, and he talked about how companies were using front office solutions to fund back office ERP upgrades. Like, okay, we're going to do this massive project. We're going to do this massive digital transformation project. We got to upgrade our ERP from this archaic version to something new. We might as well look at all of digital transformation. Let's look at front office too. Oh, we can use stuff we're doing in the front office and self-service and e-com to actually provide the revenue and the cost savings that directly fund. He talked about how a recent customer like funded 57% of their ERP upgrade by front office changes. I mean, that's just a different way of thinking. And I love how your paper directly talks to the CIO too. Not just the digital team, but directly talks to the CIO about how to think about that. I think it's pretty amazing.
Oh, thanks. I mean, I'm not an accountant, but there is like a CapEx, OpEx opportunity too of defining how you're deploying digital projects and how you're costing it in your business.
This is one guide. I know our big push is putting a lot of information out there. You know, some free, some in the pro program. It'll be kind of mixed. What are some of the pieces or resources that you're most excited about that happen over the next 4 or 5, 6 months?
This quarter is defining digital transformation. We also have content from practitioners and vendors who are writing, thoughtfully and well about this. It's a sort of an evergreen resource that's now on our site. We are really careful in how we curate our content. There's a lot of sort of fluffy stuff that you may have been convinced to download, and you get the PDF and there's not a there. So we're really careful in writing and curating content that provides value. So this quarter, it's digital transformation. What we have upcoming next quarter is two big pieces that I'm excited for. One is a guide to PIM and thinking about product content. Jason Hine has been, of course, instrumental in helping us think through that and write it. Also looking at the impact of AI or sort of consequences of AI with product content and how it's a very different process for manufacturers and distributors. So a pretty nuanced guide that's coming out, and also a e-commerce platform guide, which is in 2026. How do you think about how your e-commerce platform is functioning in your digital ecosystem? Those are the two good ones coming up in the next couple of months. And then our Q4 is really around customer adoption, and it's a persistent and important topic. And the businesses who think a lot about it and do customer journey mapping and thinking and investing in customer experience are the ones who can really show ROI in these digital transformation projects. So that one's very exciting to be thinking about and working through and collecting stories.
Yeah, I love that. I think we kind of did it quietly last year, but we also put out a customer adoption, the training that we've done around customer adoption framework. We put out a paper on that, as well as I think there's like a 90-minute training on how to think through customer adoption. I think over the last 9 days, I've had 4 conversations with distributors, and their question was just like, the real question was, hey, we want to increase customer adoption, but that feels like a really, really big problem. Is there a way to break that down into smaller things that we can actually attack, right? And that people can understand. And that's what this customer adoption framework does in a very, very thoughtful way. In a almost elementary, I feel dumb even talking about the levels way, but sometimes those have become the most beautiful parts of it. So when we'll continue that this year as well. That's amazing. At the association, we have amazing people running all these different areas, and so because they're amazing, like we're never worried about is stuff getting done in those areas, and events is one of those areas. And so sometimes Sarah and I are directly involved, and sometimes we're staying out the loop. But I know you probably don't know all the details of what we're doing with B2B e-commerce world right now. Do you want to hear about some of those?
I do. Other than showing up at the right time.
Yeah. I mean, your flights are booked. That's fine.
Okay.
B2B e-commerce world, 3 major locations this year. London, our first year doing it on our own. We did it with another company last year. We're doing it on our own this year. April, I think 24th, 23rd, and 24th, I believe, if I get those dates right. In London, amazing location. We don't expect, we're not trying to get 600 people there. We're trying to build a nice community and bring 100 to 200 people into London. High quality content, same format for B2B commerce world. Amazing hotel, amazing venue, amazing conference center right in London. That the whole team we're going to be there. I'm going to be there for about a week, a few days before, a few days afterwards. For us personally, what I love is, our team is so spread out, mainly between the US and Australia. And when we meet in London, it'll be the first time this year where we're all together. And I just can't wait to see everybody again and have everybody's heads together about doing these things. So it's going to be amazing. Our first foray into Europe, really, we see that as a massive market. We're looking at other regions, DACH region, for 2027. And of course, staying in London, but looking at some other areas as well, to really build a really big presence there. July, Melbourne, Australia. Last year we had about 450 people there. I think it's just going to be significantly bigger this year in Melbourne. In a country of 30 million people, to get 450 there and maybe, be able to double that potentially this year is just it's an incredible feat. Again, format's amazing, great experiences, great networking, amazing content, practitioner-driven content across the board. And I'm just really, really excited about Australia. And then we're doing the America's experiment. So last year our experiment was Scottsdale, Arizona, amazing venue. But this year is Indianapolis. And the beauty of Indianapolis is it's an hour flight for everyone. Everyone has an hour flight to Indy. A lot of people only have a 3-hour drive to Indy. So it should be accessible beyond. We have an amazing, it's on Monday and Tuesday, November 2nd and 3rd. We've got some programming on Sunday as well that's starting to happen. We're looking at having an executive-only time on Tuesday. We're kind of designing that out right now where we've had the conference for a day and a half. Everybody else goes on does fun things. We have some go-kart options, pickleball options, some fun indie Midwest things to do. And then we're looking at having an executive session for a couple of hours where you can bring your CEO, your CFO, and we're going to talk about digital. We're not going to talk about e-commerce. We're kind of talking about digital, all the topics that we've talked about today. And then so the executives can fly in that morning, attend sessions, and stay for the awards and celebrate their own teams that will be there accepting those awards. And the people that we've talked to about that, they have been overly excited, especially the ones that were there last year, saw how we did it. Like, if you have a session like that, I'll invite my whole executive team. And these are some very, very large companies, some mid-sized companies, small companies, kind of across the board. Yeah, we'll invite it. Like, we know what that content's going to look like. And again, we're not going to do like 6 hours of it. We're thinking about doing 2 hours of programming for it. So really, really excited for that. So man, events is just huge. And then the last part that we're excited about, that kind of Sarah and I just spent a lot of our time in, is the media side. We just crossed, or by the time this is out, we'll have crossed a year into doing the podcast.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's an amazing achievement. What did you say? I think as we introed this and kicked it off, how many episodes were the average? Do you remember?
Oh, it was like 4 or 5.
4 or 5 average, and then very few get above like 21 or something episodes. We're officially over 21. But I think the one of the things that we have just worked really hard at, using the podcast. I mean, the podcast is just a word, but it's really podcast, YouTube, shorts, social, right? It is this way of recording long form content and then pushing it out to people in the way they want to consume it. And blogs too. We've been pretty consistent on writing a blog for every YouTube video we put out there. So it's exciting, and we've just worked really hard at, hey, how are we going to improve the next one just a little bit? Like, let's improve the next one just a little bit over the last one we did. And man, when I look at those first couple episodes compared to the one we released last week, I mean, it's night and day difference on our ability to, structure the podcast and design the podcast and talk about the things that are necessary. And definitely getting better at interviewing. It's definitely been a skill to figure out and learn.
I think I really enjoy the podcast. I'm curious what you think you've learned over the year of doing it. The pieces I really like are, you're speaking to leaders in B2B e-commerce. They all have insights, but the pieces I like most are when they're talking about how they've thought about their business and how it's changed. Mm-hmm. So you had Matthew from Torque on recently, who was talking about implementing EOS inside his organization.
Yeah, that was fun.
So fun, right? It's not under the umbrella of B2B e-commerce, but so good. And then recently the conversation in talking about digital marketing.
Yeah, with the Mighty Rep.
Yeah.
Mighty Rep, yeah.
And just how they're solving the problem of marketing spend not actually following through to actual pipeline and customers, which is a huge problem. And I don't know anyone else who's addressing that for manufacturers and distributors and understands it as well as they do.
Well, we got something from it. Like, I learned something like about our business. I learned from that, which is even more beautiful.
Yeah. So there's a technical, right? There's the sort of tech part of that you would expect from a podcast about B2B e-commerce, but there's the business story, and then there's just the people story, and the people story is always maybe the most fun for me. Yeah,
I agree. I think the thing, I'm pretty hard on communication is the one thing I pride myself on. And the hardest thing for me to do in those, first of all, it's exhausting to do because I try to put my brain's going the whole time. I put a lot of prep into it. I try to put energy into it too. And by the time I'm done with one, I'm just dead tired. But the thing that I'm trying to figure out the most in this year is how to put personality into it. not just information. Like I feel like I've been able to figure out, okay, this is how you ask good questions. This is how you kind of extract. This is how you kind of design the flow of it. I think that's improved significantly this year. Rob Gonzalez from Salsify and I had a podcast yesterday, and Rob and I are old good friends, right? And at one point we were just laughing. Like I said something, he said something. Like we were just laughing on the podcast, and I just kind of made a mental note of, man, like that's who we are. Like we're slightly inappropriate. Have a sense of humor. People not all buttoned up and wearing shirt and ties on this thing. Like we just gotta show more personality, more personality of the guests. I mean, not even just like our personality, just show more personality of the guests, so that for that. And I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Better, and walk through that. So that's what I'm learning.
I think if there's the theme of B2B e-commerce world and the B2B e-commerce association is creating the space for people to be their whole selves. I think the events do a really nice job of having a warm and like friendly and not competitive or like aggressive feeling environment. And I think the podcast does that well. And then I think you should talk about the Greenville experience.
Oh yeah.
Because that's sort of the in-between.
I had this like vision last year that I wanted to bring people to Greenville, South Carolina. Greenville, South Carolina is just this amazing city. We've got this massive river with this massive waterfall right in the heart of the city. The city's built around it. Great food. It's a small city, but it's a big, small city. And so I wanted with the backdrop of what if people came into Greenville and we recorded together, not like this over Riverside, but what if we recorded together? And what if we recorded for a couple hours and did 2 or 3 sessions? And then what if we went and hung out afterwards and had drinks and dinner and built personal relationships? And we just did our first couple over the last week. And first of all, the quality of the studio that we have and the engineers that are there that are, controlling all of this. Like we're about to watch some high quality video come out of our team that's even better than what we've ever produced. The amount, like the information we got, and then just the relationships that were built afterwards. We had a partner, an agency partner, and then one of their customers. So we did a segment with just the agency partner. We did a segment with just the customer, just talking about him and his business. And then we did a roundtable session where it was the two of them and me asking them questions. And man, we had such a great discussion, and it was so interesting. And I think the quality of production, but the quality of the content and the quality of the people is going to be tremendous. And that is filling up very, very quick. And I think we have I think 3 or 4 over the next couple weeks. And then April is going to move really, really fast into that. So I'm really, really excited about that. Like just as a side note, I think it's fun to kind of hear like how things actually play out. But when you think of something and you think of this idea and a vision about how it might not just like work, but how it might feel to do this, and then you work hard at it and you plan it, and then you execute it within a really short period of time. We started doing the actual planning in December. We did our first in February, and then you watch it actually happen, and it actually happens not perfect, not without a lot of improvement that's needed, but the general feeling of the people that were there and the hospitality and like even the engineers in the studio, they were just so great. And like you wanted to be there, like you wanted to be hanging out in that studio. If there were B2B commerce people in the vicinity, they would have wanted to be there to just hear what happened in that session. and to be a part of it, right? And that's, man, it's so exciting as an entrepreneur to watch something like that happen. And I'm really excited about what we're going to see in the next year.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I've got a little FOMO. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. We'll have lots of
working.
people inside of the association that will have FOMO, but anybody can come down. We'll do it with anybody.
Yeah.
So come on down anytime. So I'm really excited, Sarah. I think the resources, that digital transformation guide, for everyone listening, go grab that digital transformation guide. In fact, there's a whole digital transformation topic now as a resource on the site. Go grab that guide, show it, download it, send it to your CIO and some of your team, and just ask for their thoughts. Don't seed it with anything. Just say, hey, I thought this was interesting. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. I think it's those types of resources, and then the resources we're going to be building in the future is so fun. So I thought it would be kind of nice for everybody to hear some of what's happening inside of the B2B e-commerce association.
Yeah. Yeah, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, please.
Find us on LinkedIn and tell us.
Yeah. So tell Sarah what you think. I don't really want to hear it.
There you go.
You can tell Sarah what you think. All right. Appreciate it, everyone. Thanks for joining, Sarah. That's amazing.
Yeah. Thanks, Justin.
Manufacturers, distributors, leaders in the zone. If you're building B2B, this the podcast throne. The industry's heartbeat, we're setting the tone. Turn insights to actions, it's how empires are grown. We're talking change management, breaking resistance. Strategies so sharp, they redefine persistence. Customer adoption, it's more than retention. It's building a movement, commanding attention. It's the B2B e-commerce show, where the vision is clear and the strategies glow. From the top of the globe, we're the pros who know. Turn the volume up loud, it's time to grow. We bring news, big topics, insights to spark. From the boardroom's glow to the warehouse dark. Digital transformations, the path we're paving. Helping you lead through the change you're facing. This is more than a podcast, it's the industry's voice. Giving you the tools to make the right choice. No fluff, just facts, no hype, just action. The show where solutions are more than a fraction. It's the B2B e-commerce show, where the vision is clear and the strategies glow. From the top of the globe, we're the pros who know. Turn the volume up loud, it's time to grow.
This is your guide to the digital race. Practical advice, no time to waste. So tune in, gear up, and let's own the space. It's the B2B e-commerce show, the industry's base. The industry's base. The industry's base.